Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the day that changed Dungeons and Dragons forever. So on February 23rd, actually on February 24th, the New York Times reported that Russia invaded Ukraine, simultaneously striking a dozen cities with land forces, air forces, and sea forces. This has changed Dungeons and Dragons forever. Right? And I'll explain now. So, if you are a Ukrainian dungeon master today, you have virtually no ability to run Dungeons and Dragons, probably for 3 to 10 years. Okay. Now, why is that? Well, in Dungeons and Dragons, in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, we introduced safety tools, and that directed each Session 0 is one of the first prominent safety tools introduced into Dungeons & Dragons. So Dungeons & Dragons has safety tools now, and that means that dungeon masters need to be aware of the safety, the emotional safety of their players. And so any dungeon master now has to think about the following, right? So how is a Ukrainian dungeon master going to take a Wild Beyond the Witchlight and run it, right? They would say something like, you see a dark warrior festooned with weapons, wearing a dread helm, and their eyes glow red. And then they're like, what? No, Yulia. I'm talking about about Warduke. I'm not talking about the Russian night-visioned, helmeted, armored, weapon-festooned Russian soldier who's standing 10 feet outside of the window over there. How on earth will anyone, Maya, the Ukrainian dungeon master, is going to say, you hear the growl of a large armored threat. Oh, no, Yulia. I'm sorry. I'm not referring to the rumble of the engine of the Russian tank that's 10 feet outside of our window. I'm referring to a boule who's on the hill. Right? And it's just terror. It's Maya tries again, right, and says, you sense that you are within the area of effect of a coned flame strike weapon, flame attack. Oh no, I don't mean that Russian soldier out there who has a heavy ordnance who we have to wonder if that's a flamethrower. I mean the ancient red dragon's breath weapon. Right, like for us, this has made it so that any Ukrainian dungeon master who tries to run a game for their completely traumatized, terrified Ukrainian players are not going to get far. Right, like you would sit down at the table and there would be tears at the table in less than 10 minutes, right? Because the terrors that are in the Dungeons and Dragons books are dwarfed by the terrors that are 10 feet outside their door. Right? So how can you play a game that has combat, social interaction, and exploration when your world, you don't have the freedom to explore any of the pillars you actually have within your own life? Right? So, on February 22nd, dungeon masters, Ukrainian dungeon masters were free, right? On February 23rd, they were free to play Dungeons and Dragons and feel comfortable and feel safe playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? On February 23rd, Vladimir Putin said, I will make your reality far more terrifying than anything in the monster manual, right? The threats I will put into your nation dwarf everything in the monster manual. Like you used to play a game where you had heroes who fought, right? On February 22nd, you Ukrainian dungeon master, you had to think, do I go and get my DMG, or do I pick up my PHB, or do I pick up my monster manual? On February 23rd, as a Ukrainian dungeon master, you had to say, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? Am I going to get my dungeon master's guide and get ready for my game, or am I going to go to the local polling station to to respond to President Zelensky saying, if you are of fighting age, come get this mechanical projectile weapon so you can fight for your freedom. Right? Is it your DMG or is it a mechanical projectile weapon literally to fight for your life? Like, it's incredible, right? And every Ukrainian dungeon master right now is in a position where, you know, the terrors of their fantasy world have been utterly dwarfed by the terrors that Vladimir Putin has put into their front backyard, the park near them, every you know, corner around their home, right? And so Ukrainian dungeon masters today are in incredible distress, and Vladimir Putin has made it so that Ukrainian dungeon masters are under incredible threat. And to every single brother Ukrainian dungeon master, every single sister Ukrainian dungeon master, my heart is with you. I am praying for you, and I'm really sorry that this has happened. We just, you know, I hope the days when you can roll 20s come before when I think it will be, which is 10 years from now, if you're lucky. I have just such a terrible weight on my heart for every single Ukrainian dungeon master out there. I am rooting for you. You know, remember, Gary Gygax showed us the path forward, courage, right? And that our imaginations are important. And while it's going to be incredibly hard for each and every single one of you Ukrainian dungeon masters to see the hope that Gary Gygax put into this world, it's still there. And Vladimir Putin cannot crush it. That's my opinion. What do you think of what's happening to Ukrainian dungeon masters right now? I'd love to hear your thought. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.